Given Washington's ultimate success during the Revolution, it's important to consider that he lost more battles than he won throughout his military career. Despite his tactical defeats, Washington brought many important characteristics to the military command. His ability to rally men under fire, ability to sustain the Continental Army's morale, administrative talents, and his grasp of the larger strategic imperatives all made Washington the great general that history remembers and celebrates. George Washington never lived in the White House. The Capitol was actually located in Philadelphia and other cities when Washington was president. He is also the only president who didn't represent a political party. At this early stage in the development of the United States, presidents were selected solely through the vote of the Electoral College, not by popular vote. The 69 votes that Washington received in 1789 and the 132 he received in 1792 represented all of the available Electoral College votes, thereby making Washington the only president to have been unanimously elected. George established many roles and traditions of the President of the United States that still stand today. He helped build and guide the formation of the actual U.S. government from the words of the Constitution. He formed the first presidential cabinet, which included Thomas Jefferson as Secretary of State and Alexander Hamilton as Secretary of the Treasury. Due to his family connections, Washington was appointed as a surveyor at a young age. He gave him the opportunity to buy land. His marriage to Martha Dandridge Curtis increased both their fortunes. He also diversified from just planting tobacco on his properties into other lucrative businesses. As a result, Washington is considered the wealthiest president of all time, based on what his assets would be worth today, more than $500 million. Even though wigs were fashionable, Washington kept his own hair, which he wore long and tied back in a queue or a ponytail. Washington did, however, powder his hair, which was the custom of the time. George Washington never threw a silver dollar across the Potomac, but he did toss a rock to the top of the natural bridge in the Blue Ridge Mountains. The bridge was 215 feet high. George said he never met a man who could throw further than he could. Most of us know George Washington had false teeth, but, contrary to legend, his dentures were not made of wood. They were made out of a combination of carved animal bone, precious metals, and human teeth that he bought out of the mouths of his enslaved workers. The records of these purchases still exist. George Washington holds the highest rank in U.S. military history, General of the Armies of the United States, which is awarded posthumously. By an act of Congress in 1976, George Washington was said to have precedence over all other grades of the Army, past and present. George was one of the sickest presidents in U.S. history. Throughout his life, he suffered from a laundry list of ailments: diphtheria, tuberculosis, smallpox, dysentery, malaria, tonsillitis, pneumonia, and epiglottis.